What's happening, Wargamers? Welcome to the After Action Report of the Weapon X program versus Red Skull, and oh my goodness, I think the dice came in with the steel chair at the very end there. Jason, I don't know what to tell you, man. I think the dice did more to you than anything else. Like, you had difficulty kind of following through with your actions because the dice weren't agreeing with you.
Yeah, well, I think Venom and Widow, they both rolled pretty hot. I think they both did fine. Venom, you were hitting him on energy. There's only so much he's going to do there.
And Pyro popped off.
Pyro did a really good amount of work into Venom. I think that was 2 turns in a row where he just kind of was like, oh, Venom's not dazed. Let's fix that.
Four actions and Venom was just gone.
Yeah.
Like, it was just... to be completely honest, I mentioned this off camera. I made a suggestion where maybe you like web snared Pyro in. And I think that might have been the
crackback might have been a big deal there.
Because being at range 4 and staying on range of your clapback was huge for Pyro. He just sat back, just throwing fire at you all game, right?
You know, on that turn where I was just kind of wailing on Rhino, I probably should have pulled him in. I'd been in range for the clapback, which might have also healed me a little. Venom went out this game on 10 power, so.
My personal opinion is with Rhino, the second you start paying attention, that's when I almost feel like that's the trap.
Yeah.
Right? Because when you start paying attention to Rhino, Rhino starts doing things. Even if he's not doing a lot of damage, he's doing stuff, and that's kind of rough.
And that tank into Red Skull also did a good number on him.
Yeah. The fact that it's a size 4 tank, like, because your dodge dice just didn't pop up, right? Like it's
the dodge. I think Red Skull blocked maybe 1 or 2 when it was. He blocked 2 on the tank. But then when you were throwing Sabretooth into him as well, he might have blocked something the first time, but the second time, I mean, that was what days.
I think you blocked 2 of the 5 from the tank itself.
2 of the 5 from the tank.
And then Sabretooth came in, pounced, and just finished it, and finished the job.
I blocked nothing from Sabretooth. Nothing from his pounce.
Yeah, his pounce just finished off, and that was just crazy good. Laura had nothing to do this game. Because Logan friggin' went wild over here.
Yeah, Logan did so much work. I mean, we were talking before the game, and you were saying Laura is going to be a good matchup against Zemo and Widow, and then Logan just came over and said, "Nah, that's my match."
Yeah, Logan walked over and goes, "Mine." Just kind of crazy. I was honestly expecting Loki to be more impactful in this game, and he just
didn't have power all game. He had 3 power most turns at the start of the turn, but you never punched him, so he never got anything more.
Yeah, he just I was expecting his route to be more impactful.
Yeah.
But I was never using it.
It never ended up mattering.
It never did, and I think I look back at most of my stuff, and the only one who was really using superpowers was Pyro, and then Sabretooth used just a little bit, right?
I think Rhino might have used one as well there.
Rhino used 2. He threw and he stampeded, right? But yeah, no, this was crazy. So I'm going to ask, of your squad itself, do you feel that you would have made it any other substitutions? Do you think anyone else would have been a better choice?
Yeah, I'm not sure how I feel about Loki here. I think, especially knowing I was going into Weapon X, I should have tried to bring a little more Mystic. I kind of was like, oh, I've got Loki, that should be enough. But Loki really, I don't think he's quite big enough of a damage dealer. I think switching him in for 1 or 2 more characters that are hitting on the Mystic side would have been a really good idea. I had a lot of physical in here.
I think the other thing is you basically were running 3 support characters and an objective grabber and then Venom, right? And I think that's kind of what hurt you there. I went hard aggression into you with Weapon X, which I don't know if you can build Weapon X any other way, to be honest. It's kind of what they're meant for. It's hard attrition, right? But if you had one more big beefy person, if you had taken the 5 threat from Loki and maybe gone with, say, Juggernaut.
Yeah.
Right? Juggernaut actually would have been a lot trickier for me to take down.
Oh, for sure.
And he would have been a perfect character to have the dossier on.
Yep.
Because then Logan would have been rolling in 5 dice with rerolls against 4 defense with a damage reduction, right?
Oh, for sure. I think the dossier was also a mistake on my part. Putting it over here meant, my idea was, he's just never going to have to get to abuse it because he's going to be on this side of the board. But no, it just dragged him over here, which means obviously Zemo and Widow can't stand up to him for very long.
Yeah, Logan just took a walk. He just made it all the way across the board.
Yeah.
Rhino was tanky enough that I wasn't too concerned about that side of the board. Sabretooth himself is a bit tanky as well. And I think that's what it kind of came down to. I think you were lacking that sort of counter-aggressive piece.
Yep.
And of course, it didn't help that Venom, who traditionally, your Venom does very well against me, traditionally speaking, right? And And unfortunately, like I think what happens because like Pyro just did so well into Venom, your Venom had that one really nice turn against Rhino where he almost took him down, but that was kind of that, right?
Yeah, no, he like Venom rolled totally fine. He did exactly what I expected him to do this game, but he just kind of went down to Pyro way too easily. And like you say, Pyro being just at that perfect range 4 was a big hit for Venom.
Yeah, no, that was definitely big. But like in the end, we can't discount the dice. The dice were hot for me; they were cold for you. And then that's kind of what happened. I mean, I've been on the opposite end of that. I'm sure you've been on the opposite end of that as well.
We've both seen all of it.
And it's unfortunately it's something that happens. And when you're fighting both the dice and the opponent, it gets really tricky. It really does. And I just applied so much early pressure on you. Like it was hard for you to kind of come back from that, right?
Yeah, well, like I had all this power in the following rounds, and like off camera we had that discussion of this side of the board with Loki and Wolverine. You know, I really needed to take Wolverine down because I knew he was just going to pop off and kill Zemo again and probably take Widow as well. But I didn't really have anyone over there that was capable of doing that. Zemo needed some crazy dice. You had exceptional healing up still. And like you say, if I had someone who was also a heavy hitter over there.
You know, and that's where the dice come in, because Zemo theoretically should have been able to chip a little bit away at Logan, right? Like,
yeah, if he got 2 in, I think.
If he had been able to do 2 points of damage, Loki would have had a much better chance of dazing Logan, which would have just left Widow over there, right? Widow and Laura, and I mean, yeah, Laura can get a lot of work done, but not as much as
definitely not
as Logan, right? So that would have been a big thing, but I think when we were going into, I think it was at the start of round 3, we were actually discussing, like, who do you start with?
Yeah, which side of the board is the better start here, because I just knew Logan was going to do exactly what he did the turn before if I left him over.
Yeah.
And of course, you were right to go with Pyro the second I didn't, because, yeah, if you could knock Venom, I've lost my bodyguard for Zemo, I've lost my crackback, I've lost all my defensive tech on that side.
Yeah, like I wasn't expecting Pyro to just pop off the way he did. In retrospect, I do think the play might have been over here to start with a very powered up Venom.
Fair.
Because I mean, there's some things you could have done, like I don't know, like this tank wasn't here. Like you might have been able to. I don't know what Venom really could have done, but like you would have. I think you could have done a little bit more.
Yeah, I could have pulled Pyro in and gotten that part out of the way, because at that point it would have been pretty negligible amounts of power. I would have been able to get just some extra damage in, maybe daze Rhino before he gets to go.
Web snaring Pyro in, because here's what you could have actually done. Now that I think about it, you could have web snared Pyro in, and I believe you probably could have, because is it a short or a medium?
Medium pull.
It's a medium, so you could have pulled him in, right?
Yep.
Which
right
would have put him within 2 of Rhino, right?
Yep.
Then what you could have done is you could have picked Pyro up and thrown him into Rhino.
True.
Right?
Yep.
And then that's 1 damage onto Pyro, and then that's Rhino possibly taking if you get lucky, that's Rhino taking 2 points of damage and dazing Rhino, and you still haven't used an action.
Yep, and then I could unload into Pyro.
And then you unload into Pyro, and that leaves Red Skull well, it means I either have to activate Sabretooth at that point to go into Red Skull, or I just double down over here and let Red Skull go into Sabretooth.
Yep.
And I think that would have given you a little bit more breathing room.
Yep, and as we saw from what Logan did there, he was able to take out Zemo, but Widow survived, Loki survived. I'd still have had a decent amount of punch over here. At the very least, I could have moved you away from your other characters, so you wouldn't have been scoring the full 4 on this side that you needed.
Yeah, and I think the other thing to really keep in mind is that initial claw slash from Logan into Zemo, giving him the power for the Tornado Claw, was huge.
No, that was...
I wasn't expecting to just, like, because you blinked down on that, I think.
Something like that, yeah. Zemo defensively was very disappointing this game. He didn't get what he needed anytime, although you were throwing a lot of dice at him.
I was. And getting full rerolls into Zemo didn't help either.
Yeah. I think putting the dossier on him was a bit of a mistake. That's something that I need to figure out how to play around.
So in this particular case, I think what I would have done is I would have put the dossier on Widow.
Yeah.
And the reason being for that is that you're forcing me to go after a nothing character.
Yeah.
Right? If I'm going into Widow, and you could put Widow, like, you grab an objective and then just run away.
Yeah,
right?
just keep her on this corner of the map for the rest
of the game. Exactly. And at that point, like, Logan either has to spend the game chasing Widow or, go where he's
give up the
more.
dossier.
So I think that's probably what I would have done, is thrown it on Widow.
Yep.
The other alternative was maybe Red Skull. And the reason for that is because Red Skull could constantly have
Always
Venom.
pass it to Venom.
Always pass it to Venom, and then Venom could even Lethal Protector.
Yeah.
Like you have a lot of options in that regard there. Also, Venom has the 4 physical defense.
Yeah, and the crackback with the heal.
And the crackback. So yeah, I think either Venom or Widow probably would have been the better option than Zemo.
I think I can agree with that, yeah.
Red
Skull or...
Red Skull or Widow. I see what you were doing there, and I don't think it panned out the way you were hoping it would.
Yep, no, 100%. I think that would have been a good way to use the dossier.
Yeah. But you know, we've played a bunch of games now, and I think every time we play a game together, we always get better ourselves.
Oh yeah.
And you know what, you took the dice like a champ, man. You've been playing enough games. You took the dice like a champ, and yeah, sometimes you just gotta grit your teeth and get through it. So I'm gonna commend you for that one there. But I think we are gonna call the discussion at this point.
Yeah.
And we will see you guys next time. Remember, if you guys want to support the channel, there is the Patreon link in the comments or in the description below. And otherwise, thank you so much for watching, and we will see you next time. Happy wargaming.